I never thought betrayal could taste like turkey and cranberry sauce. But there it was, choking me mid-bite as Mom's voice sliced through the Bing Crosby crooning on the stereo. "You're dead to me, Josephine."
Dead.
The words hung in the air like smoke from the overcooked ham, and before anyone could gasp, I flipped the gravy boat over, watching it flood the white tablecloth like a slow-motion execution. In that moment, with Uncle Ray's fork frozen halfway to his mouth and Grandma's rosary beads clattering to the floor, I decided, if she wanted a corpse, I'd give her one, mine, resurrected, and coming for blood. It was Christmas Eve, 2018, in our drafty colonial in Elmwood, Ohio, the kind of Midwest suburb where everyone knows your business but pretends they don't. The house smelled of pine and resentment, the tree sagging under ornaments Mom had hand-painted during my troubled phase, as she called it. I'd just turned 25, fresh out of community college with a nursing certificate and dreams of scrubbing bedpans in Cleveland for minimum wage. What a life.
Right?
But that night, everything cracked open like the cheap eggnog we'd spiked with bourbon. We were midway through grace, Dad mumbling about family blessings while eyeing the football game on his phone under the table, when Mom launched her grenade. It started with a question. Innocent enough, so, "Josie, any luck with that internship at the hospital?" I smiled, fork in hand, and said yeah, I nailed the interview. That's when her eyes narrowed, those sharp blue, ones that could pin you like a butterfly. "Oh, really?" Because I got a call from DR. "Harlan today. Said you never showed up. Lied on your application. 2 falsified references." The table went silent. I felt the heat crawl up my neck. Falsified? I'd used Mom's old coworker as a reference. She'd vouched for me herself last month over coffee. But there it was, her face hardening into that mask she wore when she was about to rewrite history. "You think you can drag this family's name through the mud? After everything we've done?" Her voice rose, shrill and theatrical, like she was auditioning for a Lifetime movie. Dad shifted uncomfortably, whispering, "Evelyn." Not now, but she barreled on. "You're a liar, Josephine. A thief of opportunities.
And now,
You're dead to me."
thief.
The word hit like a slap. It wasn't about the internship, it never was. This was the unraveling of the big lie, the one she'd buried deeper than Grandpa's war medals in the attic.
See,
10 years earlier, when I was 15, our family business, a little auto parts shop Dad ran out of the garage, went belly up. Turns out, Mom had been cooking the books, siphoning cash for her side hustles, which were really just slots at the Indian Casino in Sandusky and a secret credit card for Botox and Coach bags. Dad discovered it one tax season, paper scattered like confetti on the kitchen floor. He confronted her. They fought like alley cats, and in the end, to save face,
she pinned it on me. Me.
The quiet kid who alphabetized the inventory logs for fun. She forged my signature on a few invoices. Made it look like I'd been skimming for candy money or whatever dumb excuse a teenager might have.
Dad,
heartbroken and half-broke, went along with it because family sticks together. They grounded me for a year, yanked me from school events, and whispered to neighbors that their wild daughter had nearly ruined them. I took the hit: community service, probation, the scarlet letter of a juvie record that haunted every job app since. All so Mom could keep her PDA throne and her Sunday school smile. That Christmas, with the truth bubbling up like the gravy I'd just appended, she couldn't let it slide. Maybe Dr. Harlan had slipped, mentioned the reference check, and cracked her facade. Or maybe she just needed a scapegoat to drown out the casino debt collectors ringing her cell. Whatever it was, she declared war over pie. And I walked out into the snow without my coat, the door slamming like a guillotine. The cold bit into my skin as I trudged down Elmwood Lane, past the McMansions strung with LED reindeer, my breath fogging the air like ghost sighs. No one followed, not Dad, not my spineless brother Tim, who was too busy carving the bird to care. I hitchhiked to Cleveland that night, thumb out under a street lamp, and by dawn, I was crashing on a nurse buddy's couch in a walk-up that smelled like ramen and regret. That was rock bottom, or so I thought. Turns out, it was Launchpad. I rebuilt fast, fueled by spite sweeter than any spiked eggnog. First gig, night shifts at Metro General, changing catheters for meth heads and holding hands with cancer kids. It paid crap, but it hardened me, taught me how bodies break and minds bend. I socked away every penny, audited my own credit, thanks,
Mom,
for that lesson in fraud, and enrolled in online RN classes at Kent State. By 2020, pandemic raging, I was full-time floor nurse, dodging COVID wards like dodgeballs, while Elmwood faded to a pinprick on Google Maps. But revenge? It simmered low, like a crock-pot of chili you forget on the counter. I stalked them on Facebook, Mom posting passive-aggressive Bible verses about prodigal sons, Dad fishing at the lake with Tim, who was flunking out of trade school on their dime. She never reached out. Not once. Dead to her, all right. So, I made it mutual. I legally changed my last name from Hargrove to Ellis, after my grandma, the one who'd slipped me 20s and whispers of doubt during my grounding. Ellis sounded clean, untainted. No more baggage. By 2022, I had my own place, a shotgun rental in Lakewood, vinyl floors, and a fire escape view of Lake Erie. I dated a firefighter named Marco, all tattoos and bad jokes, who taught me to shoot at the range, Glocks mostly, for empowerment. We talked marriage once, over beers at the dive bar, but I shut it down. Trust? That's a luxury for people whose moms don't frame them for embezzlement. The real pivot came that summer, when Tim blew into town unannounced. 22. Hungover, with a duffel of dirty laundry and a sob story about Dad's heart episode. I met him at a Waffle House off I-90. Grease fumes thick as his excuses. Josie's place is dope, he said, eyeing my scrubs like they were couture. Mom's on a tear.
though.
Thinks you're, I dunno, plotting or something.
Plotting. Cute.
Over hash browns, the floodgates opened. Turns out, Mom's casino habit had metastasized, debts piling up like unfiled taxes. Dad's shop was mortgaged to the hilt, and she'd started consulting for some shady outfit in Toledo, flipping foreclosed properties with greased palms. Tim, the golden boy, had dipped into the till himself last month, $5,000 for coke and a SoundCloud rap career that went nowhere. When the auditors came sniffing, guess who she blamed? Him. This time. But he ran to me, the black sheep turned success story, begging for a loan. I laughed, scattering syrup packets like confetti. You want money from the family ATM? After she buried me alive. Tim's face crumpled, that boyish charm cracking. It wasn't like that.
Joe. She was stressed.
Dad's sick. The house is underwater.
Stressed.
The word ignited something feral. I slid him a 20 for the bus home, but not before snapping a photo of his phone screen. Text from Mom. Frantic. Fix this. Timothy. Or you're next. That pick was my Rosetta Stone. I hired a PI on the sly. A grizzled ex-cop named Ruiz who moonlighted out of a Tremont diner. $50 an hour.
Cash.
And he dug like a terrier. By fall, I had dossiers, Mom's shell companies, kickbacks from a councilman named Hargrove. Wait. No relation. But the irony stung, laundering dirty money through fake flips. Tim's dealer contacts. Dad's pill scripts forged in Mom's chicken scratch. The crown jewel? Proof of my framing. Digitized ledgers from the shop's old server. Timestamps showing Mom's IP on those falsified files. She'd used my school laptop. The idiot. Armed with that, I could have gone nuclear, cops, headlines, the whole Elmwood echo chamber buzzing. But revenge isn't a Molotov, it's a scalpel. I wanted her to feel the slow bleed, the isolation I carried like a phantom limb. First move, anonymous tips to the IRS. Routing through a VPN in my nursing break room. Watched from afar as her Facebook went dark. Then desperate, GoFundMe for medical bills, likes from pitying church ladies. She flipped then. Classic Evelyn. Called Tim from a burner. Per Ruiz's wire. That bitch is behind this. Find her. Make her pay. Tim? He ghosted her. Crashing with a buddy in Akron. But not before texting me coordinates for her meetings. Nervous olive branches? Or maybe just self-preservation. I ignored them. Let the noose tighten. Winter 2023. Dad's obituary hit my feed. Heart attack. They said. Peaceful. Bullshit. Ruiz's report painted a man withered. Popping oxys like tic-tacs. Mom hovering like a vulture in pearls. Funeral was closed casket. Invite only. I sent flowers, white lilies, symbolizing death's purity, with a card from your dead daughter. Rest easy. Tim called, slurring. She's unraveling.
Joe.
Come home. End this. Home. The word tasted like ash. I hung up on Tim without a word. The phone hot against my ear like a fever dream. Lakewood streets were slick with January ice. And I paced my fire escape. Lake Erie churning black below. Waves slapping the seawall like accusations. Dad was gone. And part of me, the kid who'd bandaged his skin knuckles after shop fights, ached with a grief I hadn't earned. But the rest? It hardened into resolve. Diamond sharp. Mom had stolen my father long before the arteries gave out. She'd poisoned him with her schemes. Her endless justifications.
Now.
With him in the ground, she was cornered. A rat in a trap of her own design. And I held the key. Marco noticed the shift that night. As we tangled in my thrift store sheets. The radiator clanking like distant thunder. You're plotting, Joe, he murmured, tracing the scar on my hip from a bar fight I never told him about. The good kind or the felony kind? I laughed, low and throaty, pulling him closer. The kind that sets you free. He didn't push. Firefighters know better than to poke live wires. But by morning, over diner eggs, I confessed the bones of it. No names. Just the betrayal. The framing. The disownment over ham. His jaw tightened. That protective glint in his eye. You need backup? I got buddies in blue. Tempting.
But no.
This was personal. A daughter's vendetta. Not a precinct case file. Ruiz kept the dirt flowing. Mom had pivoted to survival mode. Cozying up to that Toledo councilman, Victor Slade. a slick operator with a comb-over and a rap sheet for bribery. They were partners now, flipping a strip mall on the cheap, using Dad's life insurance as down payment. Ironic, turning his death into her escape hatch. She flipped on Tim too, filing a police report claiming he'd stolen the policy check, 10 grand, enough to paint him as the villain du jour. Tim texted me screenshots. Frantic, "She's framing me like she did you."
Help.
For the first time, pity flickered. He was her pawn. Same as me, but blood's a stubborn stain. I met him in a dive off the Ohio Turnpike. Neutral ground, neon Miller signs buzzing like angry bees. Jukebox wailing Springsteen. Tim looked wrecked, hollow cheeks, track marks faint under his sleeve. I didn't know.
Joe.
About the shop. The lies. She said you were. Troubled. That it was for the best. Troubled. The word echoed. A ghost from therapy sessions I'd paid for myself. I slid him a burner phone, preloaded with Ruiz's evidence dump. Give this to a lawyer in Sandusky. Anonymous. Let the chips fall. He nodded, eyes wet. But as he left, I saw the flip, the hesitation, the calculation. Was he playing me? Salvaging his spot at the prodigal table? Doubt not. But I pressed on. Next phase, the social scalpel. I created a burner account on Nextdoor, that suburban snitch app where Elmwood's Karens traded tips on lawn services and loose cats. Posted as concerned neighbor, threads about shady real estate deals on Maple Drive, linking public records of Mom's LLCs without naming her outright. The replies ignited like dry tinder, sounds like Evelyn Hargrove's crew. Always too good to be true. Church ladies piled on. Old grudges unearthed. By February, her PDA exile was complete. Whispers at the grocery turned to stares. Then silences. She lashed out. Of course. Ruiz tailed her to a casino valet, where she cornered a low-level dealer, Tim's old connect, hissing threats about family snitches. But the Real bomb dropped in March, a certified letter to my Lakewood address. Return receipt requested. Mom's handwriting. Elegant loops like spider silk. I know it's you. Josephine. Stop this madness. Come home. We can fix it. For your father.
Fix it.
As if grief were a leaky faucet. I burned it in my sink. The flames licking the edges. Acrid smoke curling like a noose. Marco proposed that spring. On a pier at Edgewater Park. Lake Erie diamond under April sun. Ring from his grandma. Simple gold band. Build that life with me.
Joe.
Untouchable. I said yes. Tears hot. Because love's the ultimate fuck you to loneliness. We married in June. Backyard barbecue with his crew and my nurse squad. No family. No drama. Vows exchanged over PBRs and ribs, promising to guard each other's scars. It felt like armor. This new life. Ellis now. Hyphenated with his name if kids ever came. But revenge? It called louder than wedding bells. Summer brought the heat, literal and figurative. Ohio sweltered. AC units wheezing. And Mom's empire cracked. IRS audit notice leaked via Tim's lawyer, who turned out to be a bulldog, filed liens on the house, froze her accounts. Slade bailed, flipping her like yesterday's news, his comb-over vanishing into political damage control. She went underground, crashing with a cousin in Toledo, posting cryptic Insta stories of sunsets and scripture. Vengeance is mine. Saith the Lord. Subtweet much? Tim flipped again. This time for real. He showed up at my one midnight shift, bleeding from a bar brawl, glass shards in his knuckles, breath reeking of Jack. She came at me,
Joe.
with a knife. Said I'd pay for ratting. I stitched him up in a curtained bay, hands steady as a surgeon's. While he spilled, Mom's plan to pin the whole scam on Dad posthumously, fake journal entries blaming his gambling, absolving her. She's unhinged. Needs you. Needs me. The prodigal redeemer. Or the fall guy reloaded. I discharged him with antibiotics and a warning. Stay away. From her. From me. But as he shuffled out, I slipped Ruiz an extra retainer. Track her moves. Deeper this time, phones, emails, the works. What I got back chilled me. Voicemails to Slade, begging for one last flip, laced with threats about his little indiscretions. And buried in her cloud drive, scans of my juvie file, annotated with notes, use if she pushes. She'd kept it as leverage, a sword over my head all these years. Rage boiled over. I drove to Elmwood that August, first time in 5 years. The turnpike blurring past cornfields and billboards for Jesus and truck stops. The house looked shrunken, paint peeling like old skin, for sale sign crooked in the yard. No cars, but lights flickered in the garage, Dad's old workbench, now Mom's war room. I parked a block away. Hood up. Glock tucked in my waistband, Marco's, just in case. Heart pounding like a bass drum. I slipped through the side yard. Snowless now, but shadows long under the oaks. She was there, hunched over a laptop. Cigarette dangling. Ashtray overflowing. Thinner. Grayer. But those eyes, sharp as ever. Josephine. No surprise. Just resignation. Like she'd summoned me. Come to gloat. I stepped in. Door creaking shut. The air thick with stale smoke and regret.
No.
To end it. I laid it out, the evidence, the tips, the leans. Her flips framing me. Then Tim. Now Dad's ghost. You built this cage.
Mom.
I just locked the door. She laughed. Bitter as black coffee. You think you're better? That nursing gig. That fireman toy boy.
You're me.
Josie. Running from the mess we made.
We.
As if I'd co-signed her sins. But then the twist. Tears. Real ones. Carving tracks through her foundation. Your father. He knew. About the books. Begged me to come clean. But I couldn't. For us. For you kids. Lies. Or half-truths. Ruiz's files said Dad confronted her twice. But stayed silent for Tim's sake, college fund tainted by her thefts. You took the fall so I wouldn't, she whispered. Said it was easier that way. Liar. Or was she? My gut twisted. The room spinning like a bad shift after double overtime. Had Dad orchestrated my sacrifice? Shielded her to shield us? The betrayal deepened. Fractal sharp. No clear villain, just a family rotten from the core. The garage light buzzed overhead, casting her face in stark relief, wrinkles like fault lines, eyes pleading in a way I'd never seen. Not the PDA queen. Not the casino schemer. Just Evelyn Hargrove, 48 going on eternal winter. He chose you, Josie. To protect Tim. Said you were strong enough. Strong. The word mocked me, echoing my juvie counselor's platitudes. I gripped the workbench, splinters biting my palm, the Glock's weight a cold anchor against my ribs. Strong enough to bury? To let you declare me dead over pie. She stood, slow, bridging the gap with trembling hands. No knife, no script, just a mother unmasked. I was wrong. Every flip, every lie. But this, she gestured to the laptop, screen glowing with foreclosure notices. You did this. Twisted the knife. Accusation hung, but her voice cracked on the edge of apology.
Outside.
Crickets screamed in the humid night, a chorus to our standoff. I could have drawn then, ended it with a shot to the kneecap, anonymous tip to the cops. Watch her limp into a cell. Controversial? Hell yes. Readers, hypothetical ones poring over this like a true crime pod, would split. Justice for the framed daughter. Or matricide light for a broken woman. But I didn't. Instead, I pulled a flash drive from my pocket, the one with every damning bite. Her emails to Slade. The forged scripts. My exonerating ledgers.
Take it. Turn yourself in.
Or I will. Her eyes widened, calculating flip or fold. Seconds stretched. The air electric. Until she snatched it, fingers brushing mine like static shock. For Dad, I added. Voice steel. Make it mean something. She nodded. Once. And in that nod, a truce or a trap. I left her there, silhouette against the flickering bulb, and drove back to Lakewood with the windows down, wind whipping tears I hadn't noticed. Marco was waiting, porch light haloed, a beer in hand. Over, he asked,
pulling me into that solid chest.
For now. We didn't talk details, some shadows you keep for the dark. Fall unfurled in amber and regret. Mom turned state's evidence that September. Per the Sandusky Beacon's front page sob story, local widow unravels corruption ring. Clears daughter's name. Tim got probation, community service at a rehab, ironic poetry, and called once. Voice steady. Thanks, sis. Clean slate. I hung up. Deleted the number. Blood's blood. But trust? That's earned in the trenches. Not family reunions. Slade went down hard, indictments for racketeering. His comb-over plastered on Channel 3 like a bad-to-pay ad. Mom? House arrest in a rented trailer on the edge of Elmwood. Ankle monitor humming like a guilty conscience. She wrote letters. Weekly. Postmarked from the county clerk. Apologies scrawled in that spider silk hand. Snippets of Dad's secrets. A lockbox of love notes he'd hidden.
Proof he never blamed me.
I read them over coffee at the dinette. Marco snoring upstairs. And burned half. Kept half. Ambivalence is the real revenge. I guess, letting her live with the echo. By Christmas 2024, my life was ironclad. Promotion to charge nurse. Supervising a ward of hopefuls. Marco and I house hunting in Parma. Dreaming of a yard for the rescue, mutt weed named Scout. Invites trickled in, nurse holiday party. His sister's ugly sweater bash, but Elmwood? A ghost town on my GPS. Then, the knock. Tim on my stoop. Sober suit. Holding a poinsettia, like a white flag. She's asking for you. Parole hearing next month.
Once.
Family. I let him in. Against every instinct. And over cocoa spiked. Naturally, we talked. Real talk, his relapses. My walls. The void Dad left like a gutted fish. She's changed.
Joe.
Therapy.
AA.
Says she gets it now. The flips.
The pain. Changed.
The word dangled. Bait on a hook. I thought of that garage night. Her plea. The flash drive vanishing into her schemes or salvation. Had I handed her a noose or a lifeline? The hearing was in a sterile courthouse off Route 2. Fluorescent hum and the tang of floor wax. Mom in khakis and a blouse. Hair pulled back. No makeup mask. She spotted me in the back row. Eyes locking gratitude, guilt. Her testimony was clinical, admissions of fraud. The framing, the casino spiral. I betrayed my daughter to save myself. No excuse. The judge nodded. Parole granted, supervised release. Restitution to victims, including me, a check for $15,000. Back pay from the shop years. After, in the lobby, she approached, Tim hovering like a nervous ref. Josephine, no dead declarations, just my name, full and fragile. Thank you for the chance. I studied her, the lines softer, posture humbled. Don't thank me. Earn it. We hugged then, awkward as starched linens, her perfume faint mothballs and hope.
Tim joined. A clumsy trio.
And for a beat, it felt like absolution. Or setup. The twist hit in spring 2025, as cherry blossoms choked Lake Erie air. Marco and I closed on the Parma split level, escrow smooth as butter. When Ruiz called, retired but nosy. Your ma's at it again. Small stuff, fencing knockoffs online. Testing waters. My stomach dropped. The flash drive's ghost rising. Had she flipped once more? Used her reformed glow to rebuild? I confronted her over burner Skype. Face pixelated in her trailer gloom. Evelyn. The drive, did you use it for good? Or just a get-out-of-jail card? Silence. Then confession. Both. Turned and slayed.
But kept a contact.
For security. Security. The old song. Remixed. Rage flared. But tempered now, by Marco's hand on my knee during the call. By the ultrasound wand we'd bought on a whim. Pregnant. 6 weeks. A life untouchable. Or so I'd thought. She begged forgiveness. Again. I'm trying. Josie. For the grandbaby.
Grandbaby.
The word twisted the knife. Forcing the divide. Was she redeemable, a flawed mom clawing back? Or irredeemable? A serpent shedding skins? I ghosted her. Blocked the number. But kept the check crib fund. Not vengeance.
Tim mediated.
Sporadic updates. Her community college gig. AA meetings. A tentative piece.
Now.
December 2025. Belly swelling under scrubs. I'm on maternity leave. Nesting in our blue rancher with its creaky porch swing. Marco grills steaks. Scout chews a rawhide. And holiday lights twinkle without the weight of Elmwood ghosts. Mom sends a card, stock photo family. Inscription, to my living daughter. Merry Christmas. Dead to her?
Nah.
We're both undead. Limping through the gray. Was my revenge a triumph or a mirror? I freed myself. Sure, built walls of steel and love no scheme could breach. But in splitting her world, did I shatter mine? Readers, you decide, hero or haunt. The turkey's in the oven. Bing Crosby croons. And for once, grace tastes like possibility. Or poison. Pass the gravy.